Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at how we can go about adding some foliage to our tanks to give them that really cool sort of hidden vibe that a lot of people try and create. So the first thing I'm going to say is go check out the Flames of War page that I've got that I'm showing in this video. I'll link this and the product that I use in the description. Fantastic source of information with some great cost-cutting sort of techniques that you can use. So go check it out. Look at the awesome pictures on there. Some fantastic vehicles too. So the product I use is manufactured by a company called Green Stuff World. I've highlighted it here just in case you want to go along and purchase yourself a set. No, by no means am I sponsored or anything. It's just something that I find extremely useful. So it's under shrubs and tufts. It's called a long shrub. There's a whole manner of different colors. So pick the one that's going to be applicable to that certain type of year that you're going to be trying to show on your vehicle, whether that's winter, autumn, summer, spring, whatever. This is what it will come looking like. So it's compacted in, it's very flat. There's some techniques you're going to have to use to get it to spread out a little bit, but we're going to talk about that later on in this video. But that's the sort of thing that you're going to be looking at. So I'm going to be putting my foliage on a Panzer IV, but just to quickly show you, this is a Puma that I use. I just put a little bit on there. Remember, less is more, so don't smother your vehicle in this stuff. So I'm going to get started by putting my foliage on the tank. So I'm going to be opening this up and just having a look. So when you're opening up this for the first time, you're going to notice that a lot of it's flat, as I've mentioned before. It's going to require some trimming, so make sure you've got a pair of scissors handy. Trim it to around the sort of size that you want. Don't worry about it being flat. The great thing about this is you can sort of bend it and break it apart and it will start looking like a branch, not something that's just flat. It is a little bit messy, so try and cut it over the actual container itself. The great thing about that also is that the little bits that you cut off will come in handy in the future, especially if you're only wanting to do a tiny little vehicle like a Kuba wagon or a Schwinn wagon or something like that, a Jeep, whatever. Just try and keep all these good bits. As you can see, I'm putting them all to one side because I'm getting sort of idea of how many I'm going to want to use, and I like to give myself different options. So I might not use all of these, but it's giving me options. So once I've got the bits cut off that I'm looking at using, I then get my tweezers or my fingers, depending on how small the vehicle is and how small the spaces are, and I'm going to sort of plan out where I want everything to go. Now this is a very rough guide. Remember that you're not going to want to put it in the way of what the driver would be able to see, or the gunner's viewing area, anything like that, a hatch, etc. So make sure you're putting it in areas that are going to be able to facilitate the foliage. So on the side of the Schutzen, for example, in between the main body or the chassis. If there's storage, you can ram it in with the storage. If you've got like tow cables or rope that you want to sort of make, then you could put it in with that. Use your imagination, but try and avoid just shoving it on somewhere where it just looks like it just slip off, like on the front of the vehicle, without any like tie down or anything like that. It's hard to simulate in this scale, but you can do it. There's definitely ways of doing it, which I'll go in other videos in the future. So now I'm getting a bit of PVA glue, and I'm going to want to add a little bit of water. Ignore the amount of water I've just put in there. So I'm going to fix that by adding more PVA. You just want a couple of drops. You just want to water that down a bit so it's not as thick and gluggy. You want a just nice runny sort of PVA glue, but enough PVA in there to still make it adhesive. So I'm going to be stirring away like a madman at 2 times speed, and with an old brush that I'm not really that phased about. Once I'm happy with the consistency, which you can tell I'm not, I'm going to then put it to one side. So as soon as that PVA glue is ready to go, then we can just leave that on one side. This is just a cheap little container that you can buy from most stores. I've got many. It comes in a pack of like 20 or something. So now again, I'm just making sure I'm super happy with where I'm going to be putting this. I'm then dipping it into the glue and I'm going to put it into position. Don't go crazy with the amount of glue that you're using, just enough to cover where it's going to be stuck on. Bearing in mind that when you move these and you hit them, you want to make sure it's not coming off the vehicle, but be prepared for little bits to fall off over time. It's only going to happen, obviously, when you're moving it around, but it's bound to happen, especially because we war game with them. So try and put them in a position where they're not going to get knocked around too much, but be prepared for little bits that might fall off over time. As you can see, I'm just putting little bits on. The position that this is going along the top there and near the back of the vehicle there, I'm using my brush. So you can use your brush, you can use just the dipping method. It's really up to you. Just don't smother the thing in glue. You just want enough that's going to hold it down, but you don't want enough that your finger's going to get stuck on there, or the whole thing's going to be saturated in PVA glue. So I skipped on a little bit here. This one was a little bit more tricky because it's PVA glue, not super glue. It takes a little while longer to set, and it just kept wanting to resist and not stick down in the position I wanted it to. So persistence is key. I kept up with it and I got in the position that I wanted it in. And then I'm just adding one little bit extra just to give it, just a little bit extra. Remembering that in this scale, the smaller scale, less is more. So I'm not going to smother the whole thing in it. I don't want it to become a big bush and that beautiful work that you've done then gets ruined essentially and taken over by this product. You just want to make sure that you're giving your opponent or the look that you're going for the correct sort of look that you want. So here, I just want you to be able to see that they've got some branches on there, so they've been hiding in a bush somewhere and they've come out now to spring into action. You can see the green and the red really look great. The PVA glue hasn't dried at this point, by the way, in case you do see little white blobs here and there. But honestly, guys, this stuff is fantastic. So check it out. Use it on your vehicles if you want to. You will not be disappointed. I really, really like this. And the Battlefield models, as you can see there, go great with this product. So really, it really comes highly recommended. And as you can see in these two photos, there's the Panzer IV, nice and dry, and there's the original Puma. It's one of my first vehicles that I did with this product. So we're talking a couple of years ago now. I hope this video has been of some use. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. I'm overwhelmed, but really appreciate it. So thank you very much, guys, and that's it.